Yes, team, and welcome back to the latest edition of Mindset Mastery. I have talked about this over and over on the podcast and also in our private sessions and trainings about how excited I was, and it was what I talked about in last week's training when we talked about the Law of Sustainment and all about putting a bullet in the head of Old Lee and everything in between. If you're watching this, please go back and watch last week's training. I think it was session 39 or 40 if you haven't already, because it really does build into what I'm going to say today. So I want you to have watched that first. So, as I said in the message in the group this morning, real energy doesn't come from food. It's the product of passionate interest. This is why someone like my mentor, Peter Sage, one of my mentors, spoke on stage at Millionaire Business School in Tenerife. I was there for all 3 days, and he had one meal per day, and that meal had no carbohydrates in it. He's a big carnivore keto fan. So how did he speak on stage for nearly 13 hours, 3 days on the trot? And he had 4 private client days in Tenerife before and after Millionaire Business School. He's passionate about what he's doing. That energy on stage for 13 hours didn't come from carbs. It didn't come from caffeine. It didn't come from Monster. It came from passion. So when you're struggling, I need you to know you're not running out of calories. You're running out of passion. And when you think you need carbs and you think you need caffeine, you're just bored and you're running out of passion. Like, you don't need more of that. You need more inspiration. I haven't eaten any carbohydrates today, apart from a few grapes. And this is the 3rd out of 4 hours of solid filming. I don't want lots of carbs. It's going to spike my insulin. It's then going to make me feel tired afterwards, and I'm going to be chasing that carb crash. I don't take loads of carbs when I run ultras. I start fasted and I drip feed in the smallest amount I can and keep going. I don't need more carbs. I need more inspiration. So, as I shared in the group this morning, when I did the 100 miler, when I completed it, 22 hours 53 seconds, I think. The last mile, mile 100, was a 6-minute mile. I virtually sprinted for an entire mile. Where did that come from? As I said, I shared the comments. Lydia says, I just can't believe what happened. Even Jason said, where did that come from? Everyone was like, where the hell's Lee gone? I smoked the entire team. One, I think because I was so happy that it was over and that I'd finally done it and completed the 100 miles. 2, I promised Lacey and John and Jason that I would leave nothing, that I would empty the tank. And I was running behind Jason, and he's got a tattoo of Lacey and John on his calf. He was on his bike, angels, and I just saw it and I just went for it. Like, that energy didn't come from carbohydrates. It came from passion. And something else that I'm going to come on to is, this is what I hear people saying all the time. And do you know what? I almost did this last week. When you start saying things like, I think I'm ready for a blowout, what you really mean is, I've got bored, I've got distracted, I've lost motivation, so do you know what? I'm going to go and get fucked up for a weekend. I think that's what winners do. It's not that you've lost motivation, you've got distracted, you've got bored, you've become uninspired. Again, when people say about, I need more food, you don't just eat food and have energy. Like, it doesn't even digest within 45 minutes. And then when it does, it's not a sudden mood lifter. That comes from inspiration. That comes from journaling. That comes from mindset. That comes from remembering your why, not from food. So again, what I'm going to come on to, where did my energy come from? Well, I've just given you a little insight. But as I said, it wasn't carbs, and it certainly wasn't caffeine. I'd been up for 22 hours, nearly 28 hours in total. Another classic example. The classic old guy or old lady playing football or rugby or any sport who's got a limp, they've got an injury, they're knackered, It's the 89th minute, and all of a sudden they get an opportunity to score. The injury goes away, the tiredness goes away, and they can run the full length of a pitch like Usain fucking Bolt. Well, hang on. 5 minutes ago they had cramp, they were injured, they couldn't walk, they were doing that thing. Again, all of a sudden they had a vision. They had inspiration. They were going to score. How was that going to feel? And they found the energy to sprint the entire pitch. Again, it didn't come from caffeine. It didn't come from carbs. Energy comes from your mind. Real energy comes from inspiration. It comes from vision. It comes from purpose. It comes from mission. It comes from leverage. It comes from meaning. Energy doesn't come from food. It comes from mindset. It comes from inspiration. If we know that this is where it comes from, how do we start to channel this? And how do we start to use it? Well, all of this comes from your identity, which is what we're going to talk about. From the identity that we create. I was in my certain identity in the last 6 minutes of that run. Okay, an identity that I created, which we're going to come on to. But if you listen up now and buckle in, this will be one of the most powerful, life-changing transformations that you ever watch. It's the 4th time I've recorded it. It's the 4th time that I've updated it. All of that's new. And it's the number one key. Creating a new identity, put a bullet in the head of the old Lee and creating a new Lee has been the number one key to my own personal transformation and my own change. So any lasting transformation and change will come from creating a new identity, and the key to any lasting change and transformation is creating a new identity. So we are going to create a new identity right now, live today, because trust me, it's the most powerful force in human character. And your identity has to be in alignment with who you want to be. And this is how powerful it is, and how powerful you've probably not noticed without even thinking about it. So Nat's a CrossFitter. Who and what does she look like? Well, she looks like a CrossFitter. She's got a CrossFitter's body. You see people, he's a CrossFitter. Why? Because that's his identity. I'm a mindset coach and an athlete. How do I look? How do I sound? How do I talk? Like an athlete and like a mindset coach. So your character and your identity will be attached to who you are, and vice versa. I can tell a person's habits, beliefs, and values just by looking at them, often before they've even opened their mouth. If a bloke walked down the road and he was a footballer, I would probably know he was a footballer. If a bloke walked down the road and I knew he was a wealthy business owner, I would know he was a wealthy business owner. How often have you said this, right? How often have you looked at someone and gone, they've clearly got money? I bet every single one of you has done that. And it'll be the way they carry themselves, the way they walk, the clothes they wear, how they hold themselves, their confidence. And that's what you need to develop. Again, without being too judgmental, going the other way, you can look at a certain type of person who's clearly never achieved anything in life and is going absolutely nowhere apart from back to the working men's club for another 10 pints on Saturday. Okay, identity is everything. Physically, how you look, how you dress, how you speak, and everything in between. And it has to be in alignment with who you desire to be. Like, why do runners run? What's the first answer that comes to your mind? Why do runners run? Because they're runners. That's why they still go for a run on holiday. They run most days. They enjoy running. They talk about running. Why do they look like runners? Because they're runners. Why do runners run? Because they're runners. Why don't vegans eat meat? Because they're vegans. so simple. Their behavior is in line with their identity. So if you're a person who makes excuses and blames and complains and justifies, guess what your identity is? You're a Karen. If you're a person who has grit, resilience, tenacity, relentless focus and discipline, guess what you'll look like in the results that you'll achieve? Mostly you'll be a winner. So our identity creates our behavior and vice versa. Like, again, another example without turning this into the Nat show. Do you think Nat finds it difficult not to drink after 11 years? Of course not. She's teetotal. Her behavior is in line with her identity, and her identity creates a behavior. She's a CrossFitter who doesn't drink. Does a soldier find it difficult to shoot someone? Of course not. They're a soldier. It's what they've been trained to do. If I asked you to go and shoot someone, would you know how to do it? Would you be able to do it? Would you be confident to do it? Of course not. You're not a soldier. So whatever your identity is will come down to what you achieve and the life that you live, the identity that you've created. And we're going to have some really good fun with this, because the first question that I want you to ask right now is, what identity supports what you want to achieve? You can't want a fitness model body but have the identity of a person that gets pissed at the barbecue every weekend. You can't want the fitness model body but have the identity of a person who doesn't track their food every day. You can't want to be a confident, driven, focused business owner who people look up to but be the person who doesn't even have the confidence to go on camera and film a reel. You can't be a business owner and be a person who doesn't like taking risks. Everything in business will always be a risk. So have a really good think about it. What identity supports what you want to achieve? Now, as I said, some of you want to be business owners and you want fitness model bodies and you want to be entrepreneurs and you want more money and you want a better life and you want more freedom and you want more impact, but your identity and your belief systems is massively stopping you from achieving that. You can't achieve anything you want if you don't believe you can achieve anything you want, because you'll never do the work. So here is my world-class framework to create a new identity. And you can have really great fun with this, because I've got multiple identities dependent on what role that I'm playing in life. Think of it like a Superman cloak. I've got 4 different cloaks. I've got a different cloak when I'm laid in bed with Nat. I've got a different cloak when I'm playing basketball with Logan. I've got a different cloak when I'm on camera now, and I'll have a different cloak at one of the events, because I can adjust my identity in line with the task. Sometimes I need to be kind, caring, empathetic, and loving. Sometimes I need to be fierce and powerful. 4 different outfits. They're all there in my wardrobe. So what I want you to do is grab a piece of paper right now and write 4 columns out. I was going to get a whiteboard for this, but didn't have enough time. And the number 1 column is going to be attributes. Write it at the top. Your number 2 column is going to be roles or labels. Write that at the top. Number 3 is your action phrase internal or self. And number 4 is your action phrase external or others. Now make sure you do this, because I'm going to ask every single one of you to either comment on the YouTube video or the comment section of this video on the Mindset Mastery membership site, or in the private WhatsApp group if you're part of Unbreakable Elite. So do it, and do it now, because I'm going to ask you for it. And the reason why this is so important, the reason why I'm going to force you to do it, is you need to stop thinking about what you need to do to achieve your dreams and start thinking about who you need to become to achieve your dreams, because what you focus on will be who you become. And that's what I want you to take away from this training today. How you show up will lead to how you become. Your identity will lead to the life that you live. As I said, vegans don't eat meat, runners run, CrossFitters look like CrossFitters. Their life and their physiques and everything in it matches the identity that they created. So, first question, remember your first column is attributes. You can do this one thing at a time. Just write down attributes for now if you want to. What are the attributes of someone who would achieve what I want to achieve? So essentially, who are you? This is called the I am task. I am full stop is the most powerful statement of all, because you just are and you're happy with who you are once you've created it. So this is about you, not me. But I managed to write down, redoing this, 13 attributes that are the attributes of somebody who would achieve what I want to achieve and align with who I want to be and the identity that I want to create. Are you ready? Disciplined, inspiring, resilient, passionate, focused, driven, persistent, tenacious, determined, compassionate, loving, powerful, and big-hearted. 13 attributes that align with who I want to be and the life that I want to live. Then we're going to move on to the second column, which is roles or labels. So what roles or labels do I want to be given or give myself that align with who I want to become to live the life that I want to live? I wrote down 12 here. Leader, coach, father, entrepreneur, visionary, captain, athlete, mentor, life coach, legend, role model, and badass. We then move on to action phrase, internal or self. So what do you do in terms of your role in life? So I set the standards, I make a difference, I lead from the front, I never quit, I inspire change, I empower others, I solve problems, really went to town on this one. I do what I said I would because I value integrity. I embrace challenge, I push boundaries, I never make excuses, I contribute, I find potential, I always get back up, I overcome adversity, and I trust the universe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I've got 12 on the first, 13, 12, 15. The last one is the action phrase, others. So this is not what you do yourself, internal, of who you are. This is what you help other people do, external, in terms of who you are. Bring joy to the lives of others. Heal people's trauma and mental health. Give people hope. Lead the way. Help people uncover their full potential. Create positive change and self-belief. Believe in others until they're ready to believe in themselves. Rewire and reprogram people's brains. Help people improve their relationships with their self. Set my son an example that's worth following. Create calmness through understanding. And create positive change on a global level. So I have 4 sections there. Now, Peter taught me this training, as I said, at Millionaire Business School. And this is, have fun with it, right? This isn't a serious training, because it can be like walking into an identity shop and picking a new identity. 4 new capes, like I said. But your cape and your identity has to fit in line with who you need to become in order to achieve the life that you want. You can't be a successful, driven, focused winner if you have the identity of a Karen that goes to the working man's club every Friday, Saturday night. You can't be a powerful, driven entrepreneur if you dress like you've been for a roll around in Sports Direct after covering yourself in Pritt Stick. You can't be a CrossFitter if you don't do CrossFit and you look like you spend more time in McDonald's than you do in the gym. So you can pick a brand new identity today, right here, right now. And this is not just new stuff, you know. Great book for you guys to read. I think I even mentioned it last week, didn't I? Todd Herman, Alter Ego, one of the best books I've read. And he worked with people like Beyonce, who struggled with confidence. And she created a new identity as Sasha Fierce. And that was her identity, who she took on stage. She wasn't Beyonce because Beyonce was struggling with stage fright and confidence and anxiety. But Sasha Fierce was fierce, driven, focused, confident, sexy. So again, it's almost like a fake it until you make it. As I said, I won't have the same identity when I'm playing basketball outside with Logan tonight as I will do when I'm in bed with Nat later in the night, as I will do on this podcast speaking to you. I'm the same person, but with 3 different identities that attach with what do I want to achieve out of that interaction in life. One of them's kind, compassionate, and loving. One of them's fun and present. The other one's inspirational, driven, and focused, empowering. So I want you to pick 1 or 2 from each column. But I promise you, if you want to change your life, you have to upgrade your shitty identity wardrobe. You can't walk around being someone that you're not, trying to be someone that you want to be. You have to become the person that you need to be to get the thing you want before you get the thing that you want. Think about walking into an interview room. I used an example on one of the podcasts. We're hour 3 into recording, by the way. One of the podcasts earlier, well, you know, talking about the guy who's, does he have the confidence to ask the girl out or not? Well, if he's the confident, driven, masculine alpha male that has the confidence to walk across the room and ask the girl out, she's probably going to say yes, because she's going to see a confident, alpha, focused, masculine male who is thriving in life. He's on a mission, he's got purpose, he's got confidence, he's not emotionally attached to whether she says yes or no or not. And she's probably going to say yes based on his identity alone. Or we could have the identity of the guy who's low on self-confidence, low energy, walks with his hands in his pockets, doesn't dress well, considers whether even to ask her or not, because he's probably already made his mind up that she's going to say no, and he's a little bit feminine, and it's going to be a no, isn't it? Same guy, same situation, different identity. Does that make sense? So you have to upgrade your shitty beliefs about yourself, and you have to upgrade your shitty identity wardrobe if you want to create a new one and become the person that you need to become to live the life that you want to live, which is why we're all here, right? I haven't got the same identity as Lee, who was the DJ. I'm not him anymore. Again, when I used to get behind the decks, I was very much in character because I was performing. I can't perform at that level in life 24/7. You know, when I'm coaching, I'm performing. So we're going to pick 1 to 2 from each column, and we're going to work out how to create new beliefs and new identity, again, but from the inside out. Now, the reality of this is, like, if I asked you, if you weren't watching this training, and I said to you, I learnt this from Ant Middleton, by the way, who are you? Even if I asked myself, who are you, without thinking, it's like when, who's old enough to remember Blind Date with Cilla Black in the same inspirational era as Baywatch and Gladiators with Pamela Anderson and Jet and Lightning? But anyway, before we digress. So she used to introduce the characters. Hi, I'm Dave, I'm from Skegness and I'm 44. Wow, inspirational Dave. Or again, someone might ask me, and if I wasn't thinking, who are you? Hi, I'm Lee, I'm from Sheffield, I'm 44, I run a business and I'm a dad. That was what people assume as their identity and what they think people mean when they say who you are. You'll notice this everywhere on TV now. What's your name? I'm John and I'm 44 and I'm from Sheffield. So we have to switch this up. So I'm not going to do loads. Like, I could have fun with this for hours, guys, and I want you to have fun with it as well. And just post them in the group and be proud. But when you do, I also want you to write it down. Write down your different identities, and I actually want you to go one step further, and I want you to say them out loud. Every morning in the mirror, if no one's around, shout it. Say it with sass. Say it with confidence. Say it with a smile. Say it like you fucking mean it. Say it like you have to convince someone to get the job. Say it like you need to say it in a film. Say it like you believe it, because you can't just fake this. You have to believe it, and you want to become that person. So think how many I've got. I've got 13 in my first column, 12 in my second column, 15 in my third column, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 in my last column. So who are you? I'm a powerful, inspiring leader, mentor, and role model who sets the standards around me and never quits. I create positive change on a global level, and I give my son a role model worth following. What identity does that guy assume? How does he sound? Like, it's your personal statement about who you are, and you don't have to be that person yet, but you have to know who you need to become in order to live the life that you want, to move towards it. But doing that internal work is so important. And the biggest statement outside of this, when you take this to a new level, when you really remove the mask and remove all the insecurities, the biggest statement of all is I am, full stop. I just am. I am who I am, and I'm proud. So be okay with who you are first, because what some people will try and do with this training, they'll say who they are now. So I'm a little bit negative, I'm stressed, I'm low on confidence, I'm probably not good enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not big enough, I'm too far gone. You know, that's an identity as well that will lead to how you show up and how you believe. So first of all, as I said, bullet to the head of Oldley, like last week, get rid of that identity and create a brand new clean playing field or piece of paper, and start with I am, full stop. Most people will start with I am, and then they'll insert all the negative attributes about themselves. I am a self-sabotager. I have imposter syndrome. I quit. I always give up. I have the habit of insert something negative. Or again, the group of people that make it about someone else. Everyone in our family's always been big. Money doesn't grow on trees. All rich people are evil. Bad things always happen to me. Yada, yada, yada. So be okay with who you are first, because as I've said this so many times, you won the 400 million to 1 spunk race to even be born. You were born a miracle, and you are enough. Situations and circumstances may have led you to believe otherwise, but I'm telling you right now, they're not true. And when I can hear the words now of a psychologist of mine saying this to me, Kieran, when Lee Freeman can just be Lee Freeman, that's all he needs to do to get to the next level. And when he is truly himself and he realizes that he's enough, the right people will love him and the other people don't matter. So I didn't need anyone else. I might actually share I might share that voice recording with you guys. Now I just need to read it back because there's some quite personal stuff in it, but I might share that with you guys in the group because it's really poignant. It was a poignant, life-changing moment in my life when I realized all I needed to be to get to the next level and attract the right people was myself. I'd spent my whole life trying to be someone that I wasn't to get what I wanted. So this isn't about creating a fake identity. This is doing that part first to realize I am enough as I am. Right now, who do I need to become to be able to show up as the person that I need to be to achieve the dreams that I want? But be okay with who you are first, and then create the identity. And then when you do, that shift is amazing. But it all comes from within. And don't listen to mine and copy it. Like, I really want you guys to feel into this training. Like, who do you really want to be to align with the life that you truly want? Not what you think society thinks you should be, or your husband, or your wife, or your friends, or your family, or me, or anyone. Just who do you want to be? And as I said, you can have fun with this. You don't have to wear the same clothes all the time. You might be a different person when you go into the gym as you are when you go into the workplace. So as I said, that's why it's so much fun, because you can have a cape, an outfit, and an identity for every single situation. But you have to become the new you if you want new results. Because if you keep taking the old you into a new plan and a new relationship, you're going to get the same results. So have some fun with this challenge. I love you all. Go and plan your new outfits, go and plan your new identities, and go out and declare in your post in the private group, on YouTube, on the membership site, wherever you're going to end up posting, exactly who the fuck you are, how you show up, who you inspire, and what you achieve. Because it's completely individual to you. Don't think you can't write what you want to write. Don't think you're going to be mocked, judged, or laughed at. You know none of that will ever happen in this group. Just be honest about who you want to be, create your identity based on this training, and get it posted in the group. Guys, I love you all. Have the best day.